Christian Pulisic has completed his transfer to AC Milan from Chelsea. The 24-year-old, as you just saw, will be wearing the number 11 and he'll be looking to hold down a regular spot in the team ahead of what's a very important few years ahead for the US men's national team. He sat down with our Graham Hunter. Let's hear more about what he had to say.
You're going to be the first US-born man to start for Milan. A historic punch when you say that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just proud to be here. It doesn't matter where I'm from, to be playing for a club like this. Obviously, to represent my country and to be the first one to come here and hopefully, make a big impact at this club. That's what I want to do. I want to come and I want to help this team to win titles, and that's what I'm here to do. That's what this club has done in all its history, and I'm just thrilled to get the chance to do that.
You're going to start working for the coach, the allenatore, Pioli. You've spoken to him a little bit. Try to, without giving secrets away, try to give some feeling about how he convinced you, what his energy was like.
He made me feel like he wanted me here. He wanted me to be a part of this team, and he saw me fitting into this team, and that's what I wanted to hear. Obviously I want a fair opportunity like everyone else to have the chance to come here. I still need to earn my place, of course, but it felt like I was wanted here. And I have a great opportunity if I show good effort, good attitude every day and train well, that I'm going to get the opportunity to go out and perform.
Could you have been given more opportunities, a better, regular, fair chance to prove yourself on the pitch for your previous club?
Of course, I'd like to think so. Of course, there are definitely times where I wish I could have gotten that, more of an opportunity and been that guy, but yeah, for whatever reason, that's not the case. And like I said, I'm just so excited for this new challenge, and I'm definitely ready and up for it.
Casey Keller's still with us. We welcome in Frank Leboeuf as well. And I will start with you, Frank, just on that Chelsea angle. Did he get a raw deal at the club?
You know what? It is what it is, and I think he had to go. I think it wasn't part of the plans, and I want to wish him the best, but I have to say that what he showed, what he was playing for Chelsea, wasn't enough for the club that he wanted to play for. There were some expectation. He's a great player. He shows it every time he plays with the national team, but it's never been the case with Chelsea, where sometimes he did it, but the inconsistency that he showed talked against him and showed to the world that maybe it was too much for Chelsea. I don't know if Milan is going to be at his level, or it will be at the level of Milan. I don't know. Milan is not the Milan that I used to play against, where you had the Desailly, the Baresi, and so many absolutely fantastic players. But Pulisic is a great player. He has to be fit by his teammates, to be held by his teammates. And it never worked really well for Chelsea. Hopefully, it's going to work for Milan.
Okay, Ali, what stood out to you in that interview that we just saw from Pulisic?
What we were discussing yesterday and the day before, and what he heard from the manager. And I think this is important to Christian Pulisic, and it becomes clearer and clearer every time that we hear him talk, is that the manager said to him, I want you here. And to be appreciated as a player, that obviously that plays a part. You want somebody that expresses that need and desire to have you as part of their team. That makes you feel good. That feeds your ego. That feeds your confidence. And when you feel good about yourself and when you feel confident about your game, then obviously you would suggest and you would assume you're going to play better. So it was clear from the interview that the first thing he mentioned about the importance of the manager is that the manager was very clear with him in saying, I want you here. Which then brings me to the next thing. Here's a manager that wants you here. And it all feels like it's all set up for success for Christian Pulisic. So now it's about the player performing. Nothing else. Nothing else. No other story, no other excuse, no need to explain it away. The manager wanted you here. The club wanted you here. You wanted to be here. Now here's the opportunity, and just allow your talent to take over. Be available, stay fit, be ready to play, and when you get the opportunity to do so, have an impact on the field. If we do that, then clearly this is going to be a success. If he doesn't, then the questions will be on Christian Pulisic, not on Chelsea, not on Milan, not on Pioli, or anybody else.
Is there a feeling, Casey, that this is a make or break kind of move for Pulisic?
Well, it is if he wants to be in that upper echelon of clubs. When you go from a Dortmund, to a Chelsea with a lot of expectation, like Frank alluded to, he flirted with times when he played well, injuries got in the way, managerial changes all the time, couldn't quite really establish himself at the level that I think everybody at Chelsea hoped. And then here's an opportunity to go to another world-class club. And I agree with Frank. It's not the AC Milan of the Maldinis and the Braces and the Ruud Gullits and the Marco van Bastens, but it's still a massive, massive club with a lot of expectation. And it's an opportunity for him to reestablish himself. Look, it's not like players haven't had to leave Chelsea to reestablish themselves. Players have done that at times and have gone on to be some of the best players in the world. So Christian has a huge opportunity, and to Ollie's point, there's no excuses. It's a manager that wanted you, it's a club that wanted you, and it's a place that you wanted to be. So now it's up to you to reestablish yourself as a top-class footballer at a top club.
It might not be the Milan of yesteryear, Shaka, but it is still Milan. It's a huge club in world football. Is there more pressure on him here or at Chelsea when he was at Chelsea?
Look, as everybody alluded to, the whole Chelsea thing was just odd. From the time Maurizio Sarri, or from the time he signed, and Maurizio Sarri coming out and saying, well, I didn't really want Pulisic. This was more an Abramovich thing. I mean, and to Ali's point, which is why from the time he says, well, a manager who wants me, that stands out. That's what everybody hears, because you understand that history, that history from signing for Chelsea and then the frustrations around all the managers that come as a result, whether we're talking Lampard or Tuchel, Potter, and then injuries and not giving runs in the teams. So I think there was less expectation around Christian Pulisic than maybe hope. That hope that he could hit some of those heights that maybe he promised in his earliest days at Dortmund. This is different though. And I think Ali's absolutely right in everything he says. This is a 24-year-old Christian Pulisic who's coming into a team. Yes, it's not the Milan of old, as everybody's spoken about. It is a team that has a sharper focus on youth. Pioli has gotten that reputation of being able to get the best out of his young players, to develop them. And Christian Pulisic fits into that mold. So now coming in, the pressure is different. The pressure is there is no more the excuse about the manager not really wanting him, or as I mentioned with Sarri. And while I've sat here and I thought Pulisic would be better served lower down, say in the Premier League, because the expectation isn't that high at, I'll use my old club, like a West Ham. And despite all the changes that we're talking about, and we acknowledge with AC Milan, and they aren't the club that they once were, this is still AC Milan. And there is still an expectation to finish top four. And if you don't, then fingers will start pointing somewhere along the line. And that's my concern, that if you falter and Milan don't live up to an expectation, realistic or not, the fans expect top four, somebody's going to be the scapegoat. And that's a concern that I feel I'm not sure Christian Pulisic is perfectly positioned to handle.
Sadio Mane is not in Bayern's future plans. Bild and Kicker reporting that he's been informed he's not in the plans as well. Ali and Shaka have been covering Bundesliga throughout the whole of last season. In fact,
why are you laughing when you say that?
Bundesliga Shaq.
Bundesliga Shaq.
Bundesliga Shaq. But I'll give you a moment to think about this.
Thank you very much.
To let it settle in. Ali, what are your thoughts on this?
Sadio Mane going to Bayern Munich was supposed to be a great move for him. Was supposed to be the moment in which he separated himself from Mo Salah and Firmino and maybe the success that he had at Liverpool was because Mo Salah was playing alongside him, that he was more a product of the system and the group of players around him. And now he was going to Bayern Munich and separate himself from that. And here we go, I'm going to be successful. And he started so well, and he was scoring goals. And then that stopped. Bayern Munich stopped scoring goals. He stopped scoring goals. Then there's an injury, and he never quite recovered. And what was most troubling, and it's something that I've mentioned in the past, when he came back from his injury, what we saw from Sadio Mane was a player that was a step behind in terms of speed, just raw speed of what we have seen in the past. And a player who has depended on that speed to get in behind, to break people down in 1v1 situations, now all of a sudden, he's passing the ball sideways and back. He's not taking players on. And even when he gets in behind, he's getting caught by defenders, which never was the case. On top of that, he's getting in fights in the locker room as well. So overall, it was never the fit that we all thought it would be, and certainly the fit that he thought it would be, to the point to where I think Sadio Mane would want to come back to Bayern Munich. I think he's wanting to prove that indeed it was always going to be a good fit, and that it was the injury, that's what slowed me down. And Bayern Munich are saying, no, we didn't see enough. It was supposed to be better than this. It was supposed to be perfect, and it wasn't.
Apparently that is the case, that he wants to stay, he wants to stick around, make things better there, but obviously has been informed of this, according to these reports. Bundesliga, Shaq, are you surprised it turned out this way?
I am, in a lot of respects. And I sympathize with Sadio Mane because I think he's an incredible talent and has shown that over the years. But he leaves at Liverpool, where he was such a huge part of their successes, goes to a Bayern Munich team who, over the years, have been one of the best run football clubs in the world. They lose their talisman in Robert Lewandowski. He's not a direct replacement, even though they seemed that there was that expectation. And then as we come to realize that, particularly at the end of the season, there was just so much going on behind the scenes with Bayern Munich that it didn't seem like the club that we know, or quite possibly Sadio Mane expected to be joining. So that, and a combination of particularly his injury and his inability to come back from it, I think cost him dearly. While I understand Sadio Mane wanting to go back and prove himself, prove that he's the player that they thought they were getting 12 months ago, I think the best thing for them is to part ways. And I think there'll be a queue of clubs.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.